Sure enough, the biggest of the two began to talk loudly while the one with the hidden briefcase moved unnoticeably toward the courier's baggage. The big man continued to talk loud and asked if there was anyone in there that wanted to fight. All eyes were on him, except those of the other agent and Dan, and he hardly knew what to do. It seemed he would have to stand there and watch the secrets be stolen. Then he noticed there was a window above the briefcase, and the lights of cars could be seen flashing by on the outside. Quickly, he rushed across the room crying, "Hey, hey, what was that just went by?" Immediately, all eyes turned toward Dan in the briefcase. Dan had placed one foot on each side of it and was stretching up to get a better look. Others came over to have a look, and in the confusion, a scowling enemy backed away. As the courier emerged from the booth, Dan glanced toward the door and saw the two agents leave the restroom, but their little game had just begun. The courier went over to the sink to wash and moved away once again from the precious briefcase, seemingly so tired he didn't remember to be careful. A desperate plan was born in Dan's mind. Quickly going across the room, he picked up the one large bag that he carried with him. Entering a booth, he locked the door. For ease in carrying, he had put his own briefcase inside his big bag. It was about the same size and color as the courier's. Dan determined to take the risk. He quickly emptied everything into the big bag, but crammed a few items into the briefcase to make it about the same size. He opened the booth and stepped out. The courier was still washing. Nonchalantly moving to where the precious briefcase sat, Dan set his down near them and stretched as though he was trying to wake up. Noticing that the closet booth was latched, he tried the door, but of course could not get in. As though unable to wait, he walked over, picked up his bag and the precious briefcase, and left the room. All he could do was hope. He had played the old switch game himself and now carried a briefcase that held some of the top secrets of World War II. Outside the restroom were a stack of lockers, and finding an empty one, he quickly shoved the briefcase in and locked the door. He slipped the key into his shoe and walked through the waiting room again. Across the terminal, two men whispered to one another as they watched the restroom door. Taking a seat, Dan thought the situation over. The secrets were safe, but he still had no proof on the agents. Perhaps, he thought, I had better call 35 for help. Moving to a line of phone booths, he sought one for more privacy. He discovered he could see both the restroom door and the enemy agents. After dialing the number, Dan requested to speak with 35. Almost instantly, another voice came on and said, "Yes, 21 plus, what can I do for you?" Quickly, Dan gave him his location, the phone booth he was in, the number of the locker where the precious briefcase was locked, and told them where the key was hidden. "Whew," said the bureau man, "you sure work fast. We have two men there now. They have seen the courier and are suspicious of two men that are there, but they hadn't identified you. Now what? Tell me what comes next, and they will have the word in less than 5 minutes." Dan breathed a sigh of relief. The bus leaves in about 30 minutes, and the courier will get on it. Those fellows will have to make the switch before then, and they're getting desperate. Tell your men to keep their eye on two men in the northwest corner of the terminal and the courier. I'll be ready to help if I can. Say, here comes the courier now, and he's looking this way, as though he wants to use the phone. Oh yes, tell your men I want my briefcase back. I'd never be able to explain to my wife what happened. The courier took a phone booth next to the one in which Dan was concealed and sat his bag and Dan's briefcase down outside. When he came out of the restroom, the two enemy agents had separated, one going one direction and one the other, but both slowly making their way toward the courier. It was plain they intended to do something. Dan watched it all as if he had a ringside seat. He saw the briefcase come out from under the agent's topcoat. He saw the two men meet in front of the booth.
Really?
Not according to the I don't think it's I wondered that too, but the page number's down here. Does that make you happy?
Yeah.
I'm going by the page numbers, where they're located. See, it's a briefcase.
You're good, miss.
Okay. He saw the one with the fake briefcase feign a perfect stumble and fall right beside the courier's bags. He saw the other one stop and help him up as though they were strangers, and he saw that in the confusion the switch had been made, and the enemy had what he thought were precious secrets. He saw them shake hands, part, and start to leave. Dan had worries about them getting away, but they were all in vain. When the two men were far enough apart that they could not act together, each of them were stopped by two burro men for questioning. When they had gone out the door, Dan moved out of his booth. He was extremely grateful once again for the protection of God and the efficiency of the Bureau. Later, on the bus towards home, Dan looked up to see 35 coming on board. After discussing what had taken place, 35 said, "Mr. Big is as curious over you as he can be. Do you realize that you have caught 3 of their top agents on your last 2 trips?" 35, Dan said slowly, "If God had given me justice, I would be in hell now. If my country had given me justice, I would be in jail. Now, I want to do all I can for both of them."
Amen.